Hello everyone. The video that a few of you have already been asking me for. I did end up taking a short break from content from this channel. I think after doing the Goodreads video, I was kind of burnt out really on comics, manga, and graphic novels because I read so many in such a short period of time. It was fun, but I think that if I do that in the coming years, it's definitely gonna have to be something that I actively try to spread out instead of, you know, waiting until like the last 72 to 96 hours to get it done because it ends up being too much. But I am here today to talk a little bit about our 2024 book club picks. I do apologize. Bree and I got super busy at the end of last year, and so the book club kind of went to the wayside. I know that Bree has a lot on her plate right now, and so I talk to her about it, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the lead on us moving forward with the book club in 2024, and Bree will drop in whenever she is available to drop in. So my plan for going into 2024 was to not disregard the content that we were supposed to cover at the end of 2023. So what you're gonna see is that our first bit of selections for 2024 do follow the same exact kind of structure that we had at the end of last year. They're the same exact titles, except for the exception of one, which I found out is no longer available via Hoopla, and so I went ahead and took that one off of our slate for this year. As you all know, when Bree and I came up with this book club, it was our way to make sure that we were getting people more exposed to comics, graphic novels, and manga. We also wanted to make it as accessible as possible, and so we did check on Hoopla because a lot of people do seem to have Hoopla. I know that that's not a tool that everyone has access to depending upon what your library is willing to pay for, but we thought that that would be the most accessible way to do it, considering that comics and graphic novels are extremely expensive. This is like the past year, that's the least amount of comics and graphic novels and manga that I've ever bought, just because it just was not financially responsible for me to do so, and that's why we choose everything that's on Hoopla. Some of these picks are definitely going to be a little bit heavier than others. There's some months that are going to be lighter in terms of number of pages than others, but still it's just a way for us to, have some fun. I made the ultimate decision that we are going to have a book club discussions on the last Wednesday of every month. I think that that was one of the things that I felt like we were kind of inconsistent on, was determining live show dates. So for right now, unless I have something come up or things change, they will fall on the last Wednesday of every single month for the rest of this year. So let's go ahead and start with the selections. I'm not going to go into details about what the books are about. I just want to give you the selections, give you the dates, and then we can kind of move forward. So our first live show was going to be on, and I have a calendar sitting in front of me. Look at me being prepared. So our live show is going to be on January 31st. This video is going up on the 3rd, so it's going to give you about 3.5 weeks to read the selections for the month of January. All right, so let's talk a little bit about these selections. So January, we're going to pick up where we left off last year, and we're still going to be discussing the crossovers volume 1 and 2 by Danny Coates. This is a product of Image. We were supposed to definitely read these, and we didn't do it. I've read a couple of issues of these, of the series in particular, but I haven't read the whole thing, so I'm excited to dive into that. February, we have 2 selections, and that's going to be Hotel Dare by Terry Blas and Eve by Victor LaValle. These are both coming out of Kaboom, and I will make sure, I'm hoping that I can have some sort of graphic for y'all. I'll probably design something in Canva really quick and then maybe share the link to it. I don't know. I'll figure out something, but either way, you'll have a list of the titles, so you don't have to keep watching this video playback. That was another thing. And shout out to Ulysses for making the list for me last year, and I had to pin that comment, so we will change that up this year as well. In March, we're going to be revisiting Spider-Man Life Story by Chip Zdarsky, which I'm very, very excited because I think I told y'all before, I had read part of the thing that Marvel was doing with like the life story of certain characters. I did read part of the Fantastic Four, and I thought it was really, really interesting covering them through the different decades. So I'm hoping that this will be the same thing, and I do like Chip Zdarsky. In April, we had to change this one up because the original choice was not in Hoopla anymore, and so I decided to go with Monstress volumes 1 through 3 by Majorie. This is an Image. This is an Eisner Award-winning series. I have only read volume 1 of the series, and I read volume 1 years and years and years ago, so I am ready to dive back into the series because I really don't remember much of what I read when I read the original. Like, this is when the trade first came out for volume 1, and now there's probably like 8 or 9 volumes of the series. So we're going to be reading volumes 1 through 3, of course, with the caveat, if you wish to read more of the series, you can. I don't know if I'm going to read more than volumes 1 through 3. I don't want to make that commitment right now, but we will at least be covering volumes 1 through 3. In May, we are still going to be reading You Brought Me the Ocean by Sanchez. This is coming out of DC. This is a young adult graphic novel. In June, we're going to be reading Clementine Book 1 and 2 by Tillie Walden. This is another Image title. This, from my understanding, is horror, and I've heard great things about Clementine from colleagues. I'm actually going to be reading this one, I think, also for a work-related project, so doubling up here just a little bit. In the month of July, we're going to be reading one that I've been itching to read and haven't done it yet, and that's Malike, Warrior Queen, Volume 1 and 2. This is from Dark Horse, and this is by Roye, Okupe. I feel like I always butcher his name. This is the same creator behind Iyanu, and I love that series, and so I've been waiting to start Malike, Warrior Queen, and finally now I have the opportunity to do it. In August, we're going to be delving a little bit more into middle grade-ish graphic novel, and quite a few people have read the series. I have not. I think maybe I've read the first one, and that is the Tea Dragon Society series. So we're going to be doing all 3 of these, which is the Tea Dragon Society, the Tea Dragon Festival, and the Tea Dragon Tapestry. And this is by Oneill, and this is through Oni Publishing. And then in September, we're going to be doing the Banned Book Club. This is by Iron Circus Comics, which I think is more of an indie press, and this is by Kim Sook. In October, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be doing something extremely different. We haven't included this before. However, if you did not know, Hoopla had already had a little bit of manga on their platform because they work very closely with Dark Horse Publishing, and Dark Horse does publish some manga, but they recently were able to acquire a good bit of Kodansha titles, and so there's more manga that is now available on Hoopla. So I thought it would be fun for us to read 3 volumes of manga together in October, and there are volumes of manga that 2 of them I haven't read. One I read years and years and years ago, and I've been meaning to pick up with that series again. And so we're going to be doing Attack on Titan Volume 1 by Hajime Isayama, and this is by Kodansha. And then we're going to be doing Confessions of a Shy Baker, which feels more like romance. This is by Masaomi Ito, and that was published by Tokyo Pop, which of course now is defunct and no longer exists. And then we also are going to be reading Mob Psycho Volume 1, and this is by One, and it is published by Dark Horse. So I'm excited for us to be trying out some manga together. I thought it would be an interesting format, like, for us to read. Y'all know I do read a lot of manga. I cover a lot of manga on this channel, but I thought, yeah, you know what? It'll be fun for us to do something that's a little bit different outside of our traditional comics and graphic novels. In November, we're going to be reading Taproot by Keezy Young. This is also by Oni Press. And then in December, we're going to be reading, and for me, revisiting, because I only read Volume 1 of this series, Deadly Class Book 1 by Rick Remender, and this is by Image. This is also a well-known, well-loved series. We're just going to go ahead and knock out Book 1 because I think there's 4. If I'm not mistaken, there's like 4 collected editions, but we're going to be doing the first one. I will say, when you type this one in on Hoopla, you have to type in Deadly Class Book 1. If you go and you're just looking for the collected editions, you're only going to see 2, 3, and 4. But if you type in Deadly Class Book 1, this is the one. It should be over 400 pages. That will be the one that you're going to be looking for. That's the only notation, I think, for any of these series that I've had to kind of play with or think about. I'm pretty sure that's the only one that I had to make a notation about, because I was like, okay, how should we do this? Should we do by volume? Or like, I don't want everybody to use all of their checkouts on Hoopla on the book club, and so I try to find as many collected editions as possible. And Book 1 is available. Like I said, it is 400 pages, but it's like assassins, you know, trained assassins violent, gory type of situation. And I'm looking forward to it. I think there's an adaptation for this one as well, so we'll see how that ends up going. All right, y'all. So I know a few of you, like I said, have asked me, like, are we doing book club this year? Yes, we are doing book club. I once again apologize for, you know, what was it, like September through December, life happened. As it does happen, and so Bree and I needed to take a step back, and Bree will join in, like I said, whenever she is available to join in. We thank you all for all of your kind words and support in doing the book club. We really appreciate it. We have fun with the discussions, and I look forward to chatting with y'all again. Remember, all the live shows are going to be the last Wednesday of every single month. So our first live show is going to be the crossover volume 1 and volume 2, and it will be on January 31st on this channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, y'all. Bye.